Ferrari F80 2025 review. For Ferrari, the F80 is a big deal. You may think that Maranello has its attention firmly fixed on upcoming big sellers such as the newly unveiled Amalfi and soon-to-be Annune. It's an electric SUV, but the F80 is personal. Strictly limited to 799 units, it's already sold out. There's a strong possibility you'll never see one on the public road, but its rarefied nature only adds to the mystique. This is its halo model, a once-in-a-decade hypercar that will define the company's future for the next 10 years. If it's average, hell, if it's nothing short of burnished perfection, it'll be a dark cloud hanging over Maranello and everything it produces until it's replaced in the 2030s. That it's following the wonderful LaFerrari that itself replaced the brilliant Enzo merely adds to the pressure that is such. What you're about to read is Ferrari going for Ferrari, the world's most famed automotive marque, putting its cards on the table and showing us exactly what its vast resources and know-how can deliver in 2025. This is quite simply unmissable. Pros: brakes, balanced cabin, incredible speed, usable cons. Gearshift paddles could be longer. Quiet from the outside, what's new? One of the main talking points on the F80 is the use of the Multimatic active damper tech seen on the Ferociously SUV. On that, it's focused on controlling a hulking grate, big body shell, and delivering the sort of grip and poise of a smaller, lower car. In the F80, meanwhile, it needs to deliver all of the above plus work with the car's active aero technology to deliver the best all-round handlings to get the most from the tripling front weight. Active gurney flap, S-duct, giant rear diffuser, 3x as long as the one on the LaFerrari, and active rear spoiler adjustable by 11 degrees and 200 millimeters. The active suspension needs to keep the ride height as consistent as possible across the axles, otherwise you risk fluctuations in the aero performance. What's more, the dampers, actuated by 408 motors on each corner, can generate additional forces on the individual wheel. This means that, for example, under-braking the front of the car can be pitched upwards with the rear of the car pulled downwards, thus keeping everything flat. Quickly dipping back to the F80's aero, the numbers are deeply impressive total. Downforce is 1,050 kilograms at 155 miles per hour. For context, a track-only Pagani Huayra generates 1,000 kilograms of aero load, but at 199 miles per hour. The F80 splits this with up to 460 kilograms at the front and 590 kilograms at the rear. But of course the active elements, namely the gurney flap and spoiler, do have a bearing on this in real time. There's also been considerable effort to control the thermal needs of the engine that has to dissipate over 200 kilowatts of thermal power during performance usage. This is primarily done by 3 high-temperature radiators, with 2 positioned laterally in outboard positions at the front and 1 in the central area of the bonnet. There's a couple of smaller steps taken to manage the heat, too. For example, there's a transparent film embedded in the windscreen that uses power from the 408 system to demist the screen, thus putting less load on the VIX system. Also, in order to keep the brakes cool, the engineers used the hollow area of the impacting absorbing chassis longerings to channel the high-energy cold airflow from the bumpers to the brakes. That results in a 20% increase in cooling airflow compared to the LaFerrari without any aerodynamic penalty. What are the specs? Since the LaFerrari was launched in 2013, things have changed somewhat. No longer is a hybrid hypercar seen as edgy and experimental. It's now a necessity. Hence why Ferrari has lent into its knowledge bank and come up with the greatest hits combination of its past plug-in hybrids, the F80, made up of a carbon tub and aluminum subframes. Has 3 electric motors, like the SF90, and a 3.0-liter, 120-degree V6, like the 296, but this time with 2 electric turbochargers. That means 2 motors on the front axle, making what Ferrari calls E4WD, and 1 underneath the engine, and not in between the engine and transmission like the SF90. Also note that this time, there's no plug and no pure electric mode, presumably. Ferrari realized that nobody in their right mind is plugging one in. The resulting outputs are mind-blowing. The F80's V6 alone makes 888 bhp at 8,750 revolutions per minute. That's to 3 for more than the 296 GTB produces from the same V6, yet the weight is the same. while total system output is 183 and around 800 pounds-feet of torque. 0 to 60 miles per hour takes a mere to 0.15 seconds, while 0 to 124 miles per hour is done in just 5.75 seconds. The all-wheel drive system also explains why the F80 is so much faster to 60 miles per hour than the McLaren double 1 to 0.1 versus to 0.76. But also perhaps why the weight difference 1,525 kilograms versus 1,399 kilograms dry is what it is. Quite how McLaren plans to put yet more power one. To 5.8 onto the road with just rear-wheel drive is another thing entirely. How does it drive? We'll start on track. Largely because Ferrari describes the F80 as a racing car for the road. The circuit used for the test drives was Misano, near Rimini on the Adriatic Sea. It's used for moto, but also GT3 racing, and it's hard to escape the impression that the F80 would give the racing cars a run for their money. Indeed, Ferrari says that its latest hypercar is around 5 seconds quicker around Misano than the LaFerrari, and even suggested that it would be on par, if not a little quicker. That a slick-shot to 196 challenge car, 3 corners in, it's not hard to see why. Coming into T1, a relatively fast right-hander. The braking is ferocious. The F80 uses carbon brakes with CCMR Plus technology. This means longer strands of carbon fiber to improve mechanical strength up 100%, as well as thermal conductivity up 300%. Clearly, they work, and yet it's not just the stopping power. The feel through the pedal is superb and all the more impressive when given the battery recharging that's occurring through the brakes. Lean into the faster stuff, and the effect of the aero, too, is obvious. There's an outright stability and poise to the F80 that many track-only cars would be envious of, and the ease with which it delivers those speeds is spectacular. Flex the throttle pedal, and between the electric twin turbos and electric motors, there appears to be next to zero lags from the cabin. The sound is varied and cultured, but still unmistakably Ferrari. It's just a shame then that from the outside, without the piped-in sound, it's disappointingly quiet. Ferrari blames noise regulations, but there's still a lingering feeling they could have done better that overall. However, there's few, if any, cars on sale that allow you to attain the sort of speeds the Ferrari F80 can on track with such ease and haste. It really is a super friendly, approachable car to drive and through the various drive modes. Makes 200 feel somehow appropriate. But what of its behavior on road? Surely something so competent on the circuit cannot possibly replicate the behavior on the public. Highway, somehow it does. The active suspension does little to disprove it's the work of witchcraft by softening off the sharp edges of every single surface imperfection, and there's a lot of them on the country roads. Round Misano, all the while maintaining the sort of flat, stable platform that replicates the dreamy on-track handling. It's damn clever, as it's also a large part of what makes the F80 enjoyable even when you're not pushing on. The suspension combines with superb feel from the brake's lovely steering and a responsive throttle to make poodling around at even 20% a pleasurable experience. Then, when the opportunity arises to open the tabs, Race Monotino mode is on hand to meter out the power in such a way that feels enjoyable but not intimidating. What's it like inside? The F80's cabin is arguably one of Ferrari's finest in years. It's 50 millimeters narrower than the LaFerraris to aid with the overall design of the aero and packaging. But thanks to a staggered seating position, the passenger sits a little behind. The driver, there's no bumping of elbows. What's more, the major controls and panels are angled towards the driver, meaning everything is in easy reach. Plus the horrendous touch panel steering wheel controls are gone and replaced by proper buttons. Hurrah, the steering wheel itself is also a lovely item to hold. Trimmed in Alcantara and flat-bottomed and topped, it fitted perfectly in my hands and completed a comfortable and involving driving position. Granted, the paddles should be longer in order to aid short shifting in right-handers, but otherwise it's an incredibly strong piece of cabin design. Verdict, Ferrari F80 as mentioned earlier. Ferrari put its neck on the line with the F80, as it has done with its predecessors. Going V6 over V12 was a bold move, but given the brilliantly well-rounded and complete nature of the car, it appears to have been the right one. I have endless respect for how the F80 dissected Misano with unerring, quiet, calm precision, yet I love it for how it behaves on road, like a preen. Pampered Serie A footballer thrown into a kickabout in the back streets of Naples, yet still able to ride the leg-breaking tackles and put six through. The makeshift goalposts, the F80 thrives in the real world.